I'm Corbett Wall with DB Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending August the 30th, brought to you in part by the International Brangus Breeders Association. Brangus, nothing fake here, just real ranchers producing real top quality beef. To find a Brangus breeder near you, visit gobrangus.com. The cattlemen are in a fight for their livelihood right now. They've got it coming at them like we've really never seen before from both sides. We've got this fake meat deal and they're really putting a push on it. And then we've got your packers have suddenly lost every scruple that they might have had and just really getting greedy. And the hypocrisy of the packer is unbelievable. How he tries to pretend like he's the producer's friend, the cattle feeder's friend, all that, all the while gouging him over and over, right in the kidneys. But I tell you what, it's getting tough, and I think everybody has kind of gotten together. Those that do this for a living, those that love it, those that depend on it and have the next generation coming that are going to depend on it, and they've decided that they're going to have to do something. Well, we had a grassroots push last week, and from your states, from your smaller cattle associations that wanted something done. And finally, we got the Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue, to call for an investigation of the price gouging, the collusion, and all the unfair trade practices that the packers took place in the days following the big fire at Tyson Fresh Meats in Holcomb, Kansas. So we're going to see if anything comes out of that. I think that folks should know up there as they're doing this, the P&S investigation, your industry has very little confidence in your P&S agents to get anything done. But if as blatant as it is this time, as easy as it is to see, as in your face that it is this time, something's got to be done. It might just be a fine or a penalty, but it's got to be something. You know, in the best case scenario, you would have the government come in and break that up, the monopoly that they have over the industry. But at the very least, there has to be some significant fines and them admitting guilt, and hopefully shame them enough to where they would kind of ease off on this a little bit and let some of these guys down the line towards production live a little bit. But we've got that going on one side. We know we've got to have some competition. We've got to start pooling our efforts. The little bit of negotiated cash that we have, that 15%, about what it is, 15 to 20, but it's getting smaller. It was maybe 20, and now it's getting closer to 15% of our fed cattle volume. We've got to figure out a way to pool our efforts in marketing those cattle, to get some more leverage. Yes, it's not very much. Yes, the captive supplies are huge, but yes, they still need to buy those cattle, and they're still going to end up pricing all the cattle, the other cattle off of them. But we've got to get some competition in there, either find a way to auction those cattle off, either in live in a brick and mortar sale barn, which is not really efficient, but it works really good, or on an online sale, or do a cooperative marketing where we pool our efforts a little bit. I've told you guys about how to do that. Get with a cooperative marketer and let them get enough cattle to where they can get some leverage on these packers. But some things that guys have been talking about is trying to figure out how to get into the packers' pocket a little bit, or at least get a little bit of even play there, to try to level out this playing field a little bit. There's been a lot of talk about guys trying to get together and get some kind of a plant going. Well, here's an opportunity to discuss that. The Sandhills Beef Company at 4 p.m. on Sunday, this coming Sunday, September the 8th, in Mullen, Nebraska, at that facility there. We've got some individuals that have opened that up, and they would like to get producers in there, cow-calf producers, farmer feeders, smaller producers, and get them in there around the region to discuss a regional beef model, and try to work around this a little bit. I know it's going to be small, probably a drop in the bucket compared to the whole deal, but this is a start. You've got to get some kind of a producer-oriented drive going, and if you guys are in that area, if you're raising cattle in that area or feeding cattle in that area, make it to that Sandhills Beef Company visit at 4 p.m. this Sunday, September the 8th in Mullen, Nebraska. Now the fake meat deal continues to get worse, and like I said, we've seen very little fight against it, or very little promotion to try to compete with it. But we just continue to let this fake meat deal take over. You know, the fake dairy products came in there and have taken over 13% of your dairy product market share. So I guess that we're just going to sit and watch them take that much of our beef business. Well, now the chickens have got in on the deal. KFC's offering fake chicken, and Colonel Sanders is flipping over and over in his grave right now. And we continue to see the hypocritical packers getting in. Cargill announced that they are investing $75 million in a plant-based fake meat facility in Minnesota, and so we've got all of them getting into that. Tyson's getting ready to unveil some new fake meat products that they have, and if you guys think that you're going to hurt their feelings by trying to fight back against them, they were never in your corner to start with. And don't fool yourself. They just want to make loads and loads of money, which you can't blame them there. They want and they want to buy things as absolutely cheap as they can. You can't blame them there, and sell them as high as they can. And if we don't have any government intervention to make sure that they're not doing things illegal, or if we're not going to fight back against them and try to get them to pay more for our end of the products, and if your beef purchasers aren't going to try to get some leverage on their end and hold them back a little bit there, then it's going to make your product continually higher for our end consumer, which we're all relying on to keep doing that. But you know, we've got probably the best customers, protein customers there are. They love to eat steaks, and that's the way they celebrate. They love to eat hamburgers. That's the way they celebrate, especially this time of year. But we've got this fake meat deal coming in there, and they're targeting our beef people. They're not targeting your extra liberal people, your fruits and nuts, your people that kind of go for the new trends and things like that. No, they're targeting your red-blooded Americans that love beef. Those are the ones they're going after. And they're not shy about that. They've said that. They know they're going to get your tree huggers and all that bunch, your nut crunchers, all those kinds of people, your liberal wackos, the people that are eat up with the environment deals and things like that. They know they're going to get them. They're coming after your meat lovers, your beef lovers. And if you don't believe that, you just turn the TV on, and they're proven that they're doing this. But if you notice, as football is starting, and you know you're going to get normal red-blooded American people doing that normally like beef, okay, you're getting a lot of those Impossible Burger commercials during that. And then things like Yellowstone. You can't watch one segment of Yellowstone without seeing a commercial for fake meat. And it's absolutely ridiculous, and all that money that we've been paying in over the years that we think that should be fighting this off, we've seen virtually nothing come back from it. But and as long as we just sit and watch, yeah, people are going to try it, and some of the people may not be able to tell the difference, and some of the people, if they're really thinking that it's going to help the environment, they may start eating that on a regular basis, and you've lost that business. But let's look at the activity from last week. Look at the board for last week. We lost August. So your August live cattle went off the board at 105. Your August feeder cattle went off at 138.55. And now we're stuck with these new spot market levels on these new contracts that have come up to the top. Your October live cattle, your September feeder cattle, and they are very, very disappointing. So look at your October live cattle. Monday it was up $1.60. Everything was up big Monday, and then Tuesday they took it away. Tuesday was down $1.22. Wednesday down 57. Thursday back up 57, and Friday down 87 cents with your spot market contract October live cattle futures now at 98.92. Been a long time since we've had a spot contract live cattle that's under $1. But that's down 48 cents for the week. Your December is back up though at 103.67. It was down 63 cents for the week. Get back out into April and it gets kind of respectable again around a 111 to 112. Feeder cattle for September, Monday was up big 275. Tuesday down 222. Wednesday down 92 cents. Thursday up 55. And Friday down $1 even, with your spot September feeder cattle contract at 132.40. That's down 85 cents for the week. So at 132.40, your index, of course, that's not till September, but that's not that far away. That's this month. Your current index level is almost 140. It's in the 139 range, especially after these specials they had on Monday. So that much difference there. October, 130.80, down $1.72. Look at your fat cattle trade for last week. 45,700 head through Thursday, so they had a good start on them, and then had more significant trade on Friday, so should be the biggest week we've seen for a while, probably since the fire took place. But through Thursday, your fat cattle sales live basis in your 5-area feeding region, 102 to 110 was your live price range, mostly from 103 to 108. Your weighted average through Thursday is 106.62, down about $2.20. But we still haven't put the Friday sales in yet. We'll figure out that on our next visit. But your dressed range, 165 to 175, mostly 170 to 175, but a weighted average on your dressed steers at 171.62. That was down almost $3.50. But on Friday we had some more trade. It was more disappointing. Basically your fat cattle are $3 lower live, with your northern sales mostly 105, 106, dressed 170 to 173 on Friday, and your southern plains sold what all they're going to sell at 103, if you can believe that. Your packers are saying that they're full for this month pretty much. They were waving around a little 167 for mid-month delivery, but things are going to get kind of ugly here for the next couple months at least. I say it every year, there's going to be a lot of days in October, and it may be in September too, but especially October, where your supply outweighs demand, especially on calves. A lot of ball and calf delivery in October, when you get the worst of your health problems. You got those big ranges between your highs and lows in temperature, dusty and all that kind of stuff, and that's when it gets tough, and it does every year, and it's going to get tougher than usual this year. Lots and lots of market ready fat cattle are going to be ready the next 60 days, and we're already on the downhill slide. Don't know how we'd ever get any leverage back, and it's going to get kind of ugly here, like I said, this month especially. Box beef cutout values down pretty good, as your beef purchasers resisted the higher prices this time, and they ended up getting back some of those gouging prices that they had there right after the fire. Choice cuts, your average trade for last week, $234.35, down $5.52 compared to the previous week's weighted average. And selects, your average trade for last week, $211.85, down $277 compared to the previous week. Choice select spread of $22.50, just a moderate to light movement of 521 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Let's look at your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index ended up at the end of the week around 139.50. That was actually up about 85 cents. We had that big special at Mocan Livestock in Butler, Missouri. There was some cattle there that index cattle that sold significantly higher than where we were at. It made a dent in it, and then these sales that we had on Monday, just a couple of specials, not very many, but two significant specials, one at Torrington, one at Russell, Iowa. They're going to press pretty hard on your index, keeping it up there at those levels before we start getting a lot of commodity cattle and a lot of these balling calves coming to town, and they are going to put it under pressure big time. But don't forget, 4 state stockyards in Exeter, Missouri having their big special here on Tuesday. So be sure and watch that. And brand new, the boys, they got a crew and got down there and got them hooked up on DV auction. You'll be able to view and bid on DV auction out of Exeter, Missouri at 4 state stockyards there at their anniversary special. They've got 3,000 head on hand, 25 loads of yearlings. You can look right here on Tuesday. DV auction be the first time they've ever been broadcasted, and then their market's going to be reported right here on the National Beef Wire, and they'll have their brand new screen set up in the sale barn, and everything's going to be much better at 4 states, and we're happy for the business and happy to talk about them. But on Monday at the big special at Torrington Livestock, and I forgot to tell you, your markets for last week on your feeder cattle were just unevenly steady. Yeah, they should have been coming back with a little bit more confidence as we get further away from that fire, but now we're getting market pressure, and they kind of met together, and just kind of an unevenly steady market for your feeder cattle and calves for the most part last week. Torrington livestock markets, Torrington, Wyoming, 5,700 head there. Look at this market report from Cattle Market Central there. This is an automated market report right from the block. All the cattle that went through the sale are included in here. 444 head of the 7-weight steers, average 754 at 141.69. 859 head of the 8-weight steers, averaged 851 at 137.92. On an index that's at a spot futures market at 132.40. Your 850 pound steers in Torrington average 137.92. So got a little bit of disparage there. 673 out of 9-weight steers, average 944 at 134.34. Look at a couple of heifer groups. 461 head of heifers, weigh 741 on the average. In the 7-weight category, the average price $136.55, and 395 head of the 8-weight heifers averaged $854 at $130.19. Now, Russell, Iowa, they have big specials there on the Labor Day Monday. 5,200 head there for Russell. They had probably the most impressive prices that we've seen here of late in the summer, but 692 head. The 5-weight steers average 551 at 161.82. 659 head of 6-weight steers average 652 at 153.38. 429 head of 7-weight steers average 757, 146.68. And 579 head of the 8-weight steers averaged 828 at 139.35. Our spot futures for September at 132.40. Big gap there. But the biggest impressive individual quote come out of Russell, Iowa on some fancy calves, and then they marked them thin. 74 head of 509 pound steer calves in Russell bring 177.50. Probably won't see that again for quite a while. But that's a look at your markets from a home DV auction office here in Canyon, Texas. We'll talk to you next week.